Well, good evening. Good evening. What more fun could we have on a Thursday, late afternoon, early evening than we're going to have right now? I'm Susan Kennedy, and welcome to The Truth About Why Your Marriage is Falling Apart. I'm going to share my story and what I've learned in going from the brink of divorce at age 52 to a thriving marriage after a huge betrayal and after I decided to move forward with or without him. And I want to share with you why that was so pivotal as well. So again, welcome. There's a chat box over on your right hand side. Feel free to ask questions. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me? All right, well, we're getting rolling here. I'm going to assume you can hear me, because if you can't, you should write in the chat that you can't hear me. And, I haven't ever done this when I've done a live webinar, but I just, if you guys throw up some prayers tonight, would you say a prayer for my mom? My sister called this morning and she's not doing well, and I have a plane ticket to go out there in like 7 days, which isn't going to happen. So just hold a prayer for my mom. And, oh, good, Debbie, thank you. You can hear. And if I seem a little down tonight, it's just, that's a little heavy on my mind, but I love this topic and I'm here for you guys really tonight. So I don't know if you want to grab a pen and paper, water. We should be here about an hour. All right, I'm gonna start a PowerPoint presentation in just a minute. I'll be a little over in the corner and I'll be back at the end, but I want to ask you to open your hearts and your minds. I know a lot of you right now might be hurting, maybe confused, maybe still in shock, and just open your hearts and minds to this and breathe and calm yourself down so that you hear this information. And I'm going to talk to you about the 3 secrets that I learned on my own that changed my relationship, not only with my husband, but with everyone else in my life as well when I applied them. So let me start the PowerPoint here. And let's see if I can keep the chat box up at the same time. Yes, I can. How about that? So in case you have any questions. So what we're going to talk tonight about is the real reason your relationship's out of sorts, what you're doing to keep it that way, and what you can do to completely turn things around. So this is put in a different way, but the real reason your relationship and your life are out of sorts right now, and what's possible for you from this point, what ordinary things you're doing to keep it out of sorts, and what you have to know and do first to turn things around. Now, it's important. I'm not a relationship coach. I'm not going to teach you how to have better communication or better sex with your partner, but indirectly, I will teach you how to have better communication, but not directly. There's no guarantee, just from what I say, that how your relationship's going to turn out. It takes 2 in a relationship, and you're only one side of the equation, but you can take full ownership and responsibility for you and your next actions, right? And you're not going to know everything just by watching this presentation, but I'll give you some other ideas at the end of what you could do. And I think I said this at the beginning, I didn't take somebody else's coaching certification program and start teaching this. I lived through everything I'm going to teach you today. And I've spent a ton of money on me. It was an investment in me that has paid immense dividends for my family, for myself. And I thought he was the one with the problem, right? So just keep listening, keep your hearts and minds open. And I just know if you want to change in your relationship, if you really want to be happy, if you really want to feel more loved and connected, it all starts with a relationship with yourself. And what I've learned in all this is when I changed my life, everyone around me changed for the better. So, probably, I don't know where you are in your relationship right now, but if you signed up for this, it probably feels pretty bad in your relationship and nothing you have tried has worked. You've find yourself wondering, in your whole life, is this really all there is? You're tired of pretending things are okay when they're not. You're ready to have a great relationship. You're ready to feel loved and heard and understood again. And at some level, it might not be at your conscious level, deep down there's something here for you to learn about yourself. Tonight, I plan to show you how you have the power to change your relationship just by changing a few things that are in your control. I'm going to show you where you've been off track up until now, and I'm going to show you how all relationships really work, which will really help communication and just relationship patterns in all of your relationships. And that last one especially, no one ever taught me that. I mean, it's crazy that we don't know these things. So I have one question for you right now. I just want you to bring it to the top of your mind. Let's see if here we go. Just think about your life and your situation right now, your relationship, everything in your life. But what are you most dissatisfied with, discontented with in and about your life? I want you to just bring up that thing you're most dissatisfied about. Okay, so you got the one thing, and that's probably where you're having the most pain. What's the next thing down from that you're dissatisfied with in your life? And don't tell me it's nothing, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So there's got to be something else that's not quite right either. Okay, so whatever you were thinking, finances. Okay, finances are tough, but finances are a symptom. They're not a cause. And it might seem like they're a cause, but we'll touch on that a little bit, Jen. Thank you. Yeah, and thanks for sharing, actually. But whatever you wrote, I'm sure you're not alone. Whatever came to your mind, a lot of people struggle with. But I'm going to tell you what, at one point in my life, I was probably the most dissatisfied person on the planet, and hardly anybody knew it because I didn't show it. I didn't think I showed it, but I did. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey, and I want to get through this quickly. But today, this is me today. I coach women. I do trainings. I do retreats. I love sand, blue water, and palm trees. And my husband and I have been together for 31 years. It almost didn't work out. That's my son and his dog. And we just, life is good right now. Life is really good, but it wasn't always like that. When I was 29 years old, I changed careers. Social work, systems engineering. I moved from Virginia to Texas. You don't have to remember details, but I was young, single, made good money. I was a professional in corporate America, but I didn't like the work. I liked the money, I liked the opportunity, and I lived for nights and weekends. I'm a sports person. And so I'm an athlete, I'm a free spirit, I'm an old hippie at heart. And yet I went to work every day dressed in a corporate business suit back in the 80s when you dressed in suits and everything. And that's my husband there. We met playing co-ed softball. So we were having the time of our lives back then. And then, we got married, and then life changed. Life changed pretty dramatically. If any of you have children, you know how life changes once you have a kid. So here I am doing work I don't love. I have a long commute, which I don't love. And I became a mom, which I love being a mom, and a wife. And there was this never-ending to-do list. And then guess what? All of a sudden, the things that were most important to keep me sane and happy, I didn't have time to do. So I felt like while I was busy being successful in the eyes of many people, I kind of lost the meaning and the joy in my life. The what mattered most to me. I love social work. That mattered. Systems engineering, don't call me and wake me up in the middle of the night, right? Because that didn't matter to me. But I didn't have my freedom anymore to do what I wanted. Now, I didn't resent my child or my husband, but I resented something. After about 2 years of this, with no time for me, I started feeling angry and resentful, right? And like so many women, I thought, well, I've had my fun times. It should be my son's time. It should be this. It should be that. I should do this. I should do that. I was shooting all over myself. But here's the thing. That was only in my own thinking. It didn't have to be that way, but I didn't know it. I did not know it. And a little bit about my background history, where a lot of my beliefs came from. When I was 5 years old, I found my dad on the bathroom floor, and he had died. And not at 5 years old, you don't know what death is. My mom came in, and it was the look on her face, that look of horror on her face, that scared the bejesus out of me. And I thought, oh my God, I've got to be the strong one. I mean, I don't remember consciously thinking that, but I became the strong one in my family's life. And I stayed that way until about what the betrayal I'm going to tell you about in just a minute. And I'll talk to you more about that. But I told myself a story that what I needed didn't matter anymore, because my mom needed me to be strong more than I needed anything. So I've been the strong one forever. I took on everybody else's pain, everyone else's problems. I mean, can anybody relate to that? Because a lot of women do this and think it's just the way they are. But my life looked great. My friends thought, I mean, I had a great corporate career. We made great money. We lived in a nice home. And inside, I was dying. I could tell you what I didn't want, but I didn't have a clue what I did want. And, you know, this not knowing what you want is a classic life dissatisfaction that just festers inside. So it showed up first for me in my career. Like I said, I didn't really love my work, but I did it. I told myself I should. Now we've got a mortgage and everything else. So I didn't listen to that. So then it had to hit me upside my head in my relationship. So my husband and I, we'd argue and withdraw. We didn't yell a lot, but I blamed him and for all my unhappiness. And it's like, you don't make me happy. You don't love me. That's how I felt. I felt like he didn't understand me. I felt like I wasn't that important to him. It's kind of strange how this comes about. But think about your own relationship, right? And I was justifying these things rather than honoring my intuition and my sense about what it was. And I felt like we were growing apart. And I thought, well, that's just how marriages get after 7 or 8 years, and they have a baby and all this stuff. But the truth is, I felt helpless. I didn't know what I could do. I had tried everything. So it's like your dissatisfaction, your emptiness, your lack of fulfillment, it has to come out somewhere. And for me, it started in my career and then jumped big time to my relationship. But for some people, it comes out in their health. For other people, it shows up in their finances. It's like dis-ease. It just has to show up because you can't push down that dissatisfaction for so long. You know, all I really wanted, this is how I felt. I felt like my life wasn't working, but you know, we kind of went over this. I felt alone and disconnected, but all I really wanted was to be happy. And I knew there was something in me that says you need to be doing something that's more meaningful to you. So I had that. And I felt like I needed more free time and space to do what really mattered to me. And I got to the point in my relationship where I just felt so stifled that I wanted to be out of the relationship. And, you know, without really realizing that, I had assigned the responsibility to him to make me happy. Because that's what I thought. If I just felt loved, I'd be happy. Anybody relate to any of this? And sometimes this message may be sort of new. And when you go back and think about it and look through your relationship, you'll see, oh my gosh, I did that. I did that. So I was miserable. I didn't think it could get any worse. And then one day, everything changed again. And that's fun. The fun thing about life is change is inevitable, and that's the only thing that's constant is change. Yeah, betrayal, breach of trust. We'd been married 22 years, and then I discovered a huge betrayal by my husband. And then investigating, I found out we were over $100,000 in credit card debt. And that day, it felt like my whole world came crumbling down. And then digging deeper, when I saw how long it had gone on, the secret spending of money, big money, and lack of connection between us, it explained a lot. A lot of the feelings I'd had, but I had no basis for them. And it hurt. It hurt like hell. Trust is so important to me, and I suspect it is to you. Has anyone experienced a breach of trust or a betrayal? I mean, it could be a sexual affair, an emotional affair. It could be gambling or strip clubs or porn or wherever someone's doing things, taking from you attention, time, energy, and keeping secrets. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah, Jen, I hear you. It's painful. It is painful. So the details really don't matter. I share exactly what happened when I talk with people one-on-one. I don't need to broadcast it and video it since we were still married. But here's where I am today. And it took me about 6 months, maybe 3 to 6 months to get to this place after the betrayal. Yes, it was the worst day of my life, but I can honestly say, too, it was one of the best days of my life because this was a huge wake-up call for me. For more than 40 years, I'd lived my life for everybody else. And the truth is, I did not consciously realize how unhappy I had been until I got that big wake-up call. I just thought that's just how my life was. That's just how I was. I had lost myself so far that I woke up in a life that did not make sense to me anymore, and it really wasn't working for me. So this was the angriest I think I've ever been in my life. 52 years old, I was devastated. I was getting ready to start in my own business, and now because this threw everything up in the air. It's kind of this uncertainty came up. So anyway, I went ahead and talked to 3 divorce attorneys. I wasn't satisfied in my mind that divorce was the right thing at this time. And the truth is, I felt like I had, I think this is the next thing, I had 2 choices. I could go ahead with divorce and kind of hope for the best. But yet I wasn't done with my anger and my resentment and my hurt. Or I could stay put for a little while I figured out what I wanted next. And I was very fortunate to have that opportunity because I thought, where am I going to live? What am I going to do? I had already left corporate. All these questions came up for me. So I finally, once I calmed my emotions, this is key. You can't make a big life decision when you are in that emotional charge from this, or you might regret it, okay? Because you're not seeing and thinking clearly. So just remember that. If you're in that emotional charge, it's better to calm yourself down so you can see clearly what it is you want. So, but what I realized finally, once I calmed myself down, was either way, if I stayed or if I left, I had to know who I was and what I wanted. Because like I said, I'd lost myself and I had no clue what I wanted. Maybe you're feeling something similar. Maybe you just don't know what you want. Maybe you feel kind of silly at your age, but I was 52 and didn't know what I wanted. That was me. So I just stayed put. We lived in the house together in separate rooms, and I didn't see him very much, and it worked out fine. And one day I saw this workshop, and I booked a week at this place where she was speaking, and I had a 3-day workshop. And she told Carolyn Mace. Anybody know Carolyn Mace, MYSS? Great spiritual teacher. She said, day 2 of the workshop, I'm on the 2nd row, the 3rd person in. She said, nobody can betray you but yourself. And this is kind of like my face. Like, what? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything wrong. That's exactly how I felt. I didn't do anything wrong. So I just want you to think about this, because that night I went back to my room and I took my notebook out and started journaling all the ways I betrayed myself all those years. Now, when you have a reaction like that to something someone says, there's something to look at in yourself. And I was fortunate enough that that stuck with me long enough that I did this. But I think Oprah calls it the ugly cry. I did the ugly cry for hours as more and more poured out of me. You know, it was pain. It was pain coming to the surface. You know, all the times you pretend you're okay and you're not, all the times you act like you don't need anything and you do. I remember all the times that I sat there with a sadness and wanted to cry, and the tears wouldn't come up. Well, guess what? This day at this time, I must have released 20 years worth of pain. I acknowledged it. I released it. It came out. It's like I uncorked it and it just came out. All that pain I've been shoving down all those years, because I believed at some level that what I wanted didn't matter, that I wasn't worthy, and that I didn't matter. And consciously, I didn't believe that. But there was a belief in me, when you're not acknowledging your own needs, that your needs don't matter. So that's what we're talking about here. And this was huge for me. And soon after that, I realized that my whole problem had been, I'd spent being the strong one, trying my whole life to keep and make everybody else happy. You know, and I ignored my own needs and my own dreams and my own desires. And I'm wondering why I'm so miserable, right? And I was blaming my unhappiness on everybody else but me, because I couldn't see it. I just couldn't see how it was my choices that were making me unhappy. So this was a pivotal day for me. And I had the rest of the week there. I had 4 more days, and I kept looking now into not what's wrong with him, because for a long time I kept researching sexual addiction and this and that and the other about him. I wasn't looking at that anymore. I was looking into, what do I need to do to be happy and to know what I want. And another key thing here, at this point in time, I had to give up my attachment to whether or not this relationship was ever going to work out. I had to say, I don't care whether it works out or not. I cared, but I didn't care because it's my turn, right? I saw this quote and I loved it. The journey of the soul requires you to face the possibility of being alone. And I felt like if I didn't face that possibility of being alone, so I only considered my wants and needs and desires while I regrouped, then I wouldn't do it. And the honest to God truth is, your happiness only depends on you. I was depending on everything else for my happiness, even though I won't go there. Is this making sense? You know, just this new awareness in this 3-day workshop created this big opening in me, a shift for me to slightly turn my focus and my path. And it ended up being huge. So that sounds really big, but change doesn't happen. That change happened quickly. But then as you go forward, you know, you have all these crappy beliefs still in you and all these years of behavior patterns that you keep going toward the same thing. So it's taken me time to revamp my thinking, to understand how your thinking and emotions work, so that now I can choose to be happy whenever I want, and I know I can. And there's times I choose, let me suffer just a little bit longer, right? So here I started on the quest to find me again. And this is when I found tools and mentors and coaches to transform my way of thinking, my emotions, my crappy thinking. And it's really paid off, because the self-betraying behaviors I had done most of my life the complaining, the doing what others expected of me, even though it was in my mind they expected, that wasn't going to work anymore. I was aware of it. And once you're aware of your patterns, when they start showing up again, you're going, I know I'm doing it, but they weren't going to work anymore because I've studied so many things: spirituality, human behavior, transformational coaching, with some of the best in the industry. And I'm going to tell you, I found tools that worked for me, and they work for a lot of people, but I know they work. I tried therapy. It just kind of made me angrier, and it didn't help our relationship. So anyway, as the tools got me looking inside myself, asking different questions, and showing me how I create my own life with my thinking and my believing and my actions and my emotions. So this is the tools I use with my clients. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you know how the brain hemispheres work, the energetic brain hemispheres, but if there's a trauma, and a trauma could be anything like seeing my mom's face when my dad died, but it gets lodged in one side of your brain. And so it gives you a perception that's off, but it's energetic in nature, and it can be balanced out so that your perception is more truth. Okay. But the tools I use give you transformation, which really gives you a new experience in life. With therapy, I have found I get a head knowledge and an understanding, but I didn't get a new experience in my life. So enough about that. As I changed, this I don't know why this surprised me so much, but the people around me changed too. It's funny, my husband became decent to be around, and I actually felt loved and heard and understood. And even with my son, and we had a great relationship before, but it got even better. And he said, Mom, it's so nice that you're not angry all the time anymore. And they didn't change, I did. Okay. That's what I really want to express here. I was happier with myself. I was more confident with myself. I decided where I was headed. I knew what I wanted to do, and I was headed in that direction. It's kind of like I started acknowledging my needs, my dreams, my desires, what I wanted, because I've been denying them for so long. And you know what? My husband loved that I did. You don't have to wait for a wake-up call like I did. But if you do, it's still, you can find the benefit in it, right? But I did have the advance warning, and maybe you've had some advance warning. It was my anger and my resentment, my feelings of discontentment, disconnection. This is just signs, and I'm going to talk about this in the 3 secrets. I've shoved down needs and dreams, shoved down longings, as a result of not living your unique, highest priorities in your life. Really, relationships are here. It's only in and through relationships that we can learn so much about ourselves, because it's really like a mirror to ourselves, what's going on in our relationship. So I don't know what you're thinking now. If you think it's too late to start over, it's never too late, unless you're dead. And if you're here, you're not dead. So you've tried everything. You think you tried everything. I thought so too. I even dragged my husband to ballroom dancing, and he has like 4 left feet, and he's an analytical guy. That helps. I thought my husband's the one with the problem. And I thought relationships are just too hard. I will never get married again. Anybody thinking like that? Do you have something you're thinking about your relationship? Wow. I'm going to tell you, those things are wrong, because this was about 3 years after I started changing, because I started on my journey, and I love the outdoors. And you can see I'm outdoors with a group of women at a retreat, on some water. I have an outdoor car, and I'm having fun with my family. So none of those things are true. When I chose to take complete responsibility for my own happiness and my fulfillment, for how I felt, So much more opened up for me, so many more opportunities that I actually loved, that I actually wanted. Life became fun again, and it hadn't been fun for a long, long time. You know, and that's what my life, that's a happy life to me. I don't know what a happy life looks like to you, but you know that, and I'm showing you this because I know you can do it too. And this happened when I calmed my emotions down and I started doing this work, and life just opened up to me and my relationships. So even though we were over $100,000 in credit card debt still, which was very painful, it was scary to me actually, I knew what I wanted, and I thought, you know what? I didn't create that $100,000 in credit card debt, and I'm going to do what I need to do for me because I deserve it. I'm worth it. And you know, I didn't want to be irresponsible about it, but I made a new decision to honor my path. Okay, and I continued down this path to being the transformation coach I am today, but I started that in 1997. So it's almost 20 years later that I picked it up again and kept going, regardless of the circumstances in my life. Because I had to make some big investments in the beginning. Well, I still make big investments, but I just knew it was the right thing. And you know what? Little did I know that detour that I took with the betrayal was instrumental in the coaching that I do, and because it helps me help women at a deeper level. Yeah, I healed so much from my past. I saw how we both created the mess we participated in, because it wasn't all me. But I'm gonna tell you, it's not just all him either, right? He admits he shouldn't have done what he did, but I can only change me, and you can only change you. Oh goodness, talking too long here. All right, so this change isn't about fixing anybody, because nobody's broken. It's for me, it was about me allowing myself to be who I am, who my soul is reminding me that I am. You know, that's where the meaning and happiness are in your life. And, you know, when you're off track from this, you're going to be reacting emotionally. And that's where the anger and resentment came up for me. Now, you might react in a different way. I don't know. But anyway, I've come up with my own system of coaching for women who seem to be in a similar situation as me. And I haven't found I haven't found the work I do in any other place before. 50% of women never get over their ex when they get divorced. And it's because they leave too soon and they haven't completed the emotional work there. And I'm gonna tell you, there is no anger or hurt that comes up when I think about what my husband did to me. Yeah, he did to me. He didn't do it to me. He just did it. And as a matter of fact, I got to the place where I actually have deep gratitude for this, because if it hadn't, I wouldn't have changed. I wouldn't have changed. And it's normal for human beings to resist change. But when you get a taste of how life can be, how it can open up for you, you won't go back. You will welcome change. Even when it feels uncomfortable, you'll go, okay, what's this trying to teach me? You know, I reclaimed my life. Basically, I'd been living this other person's life in my body, and it wasn't fun. But it happened when I allowed myself to know and tap into what mattered most to me, what held meaning for me, and not what society thought I should do, or what my parents thought I should do, or my husband or my son. It was me. And I started speaking up. I started asking for the things I wanted. I started doing all the things I should have been doing all along. And I learned to focus on me and what I want. And one huge lesson I learned was to let go of problems and responsibilities that weren't mine. A lot of times we focus out here on what we can do and fix, and we spend too little time focusing on who we are and what we want. So I really grew up and learned how to be happy in my own right. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. I think of all the years of sadness, anger, and resentment that I've been stuck in for so long, and how bad I felt when it felt like he didn't love me. When the truth is, I didn't love myself. So I was judging me very harshly, not him. And I didn't even realize it. So no matter what you're thinking right now, there's more that's possible for you. I forgave my husband. Forgiveness is huge. It takes some time, but I forgave myself. I was free. So let's get on with the 3 secrets, because these are the 3 things that allowed me to change my life and my relationship from being so dissatisfied, so angry and resentful, and really wondering if this is all there is, to allowing myself to honor myself and what mattered most to me. And it totally shifted my relationship with my husband, to be, and we've been married 31 years now. So the 3 secrets. The first secret I'm going to talk about, and these aren't really secrets, but I don't know what else to call them, but the real reason your relationship's out of sorts. And I'm going to talk to you about the real purpose of relationships here. Think about, why did you get married? Why do most people get married? Why did you get married? How long have you been married? People who haven't been married that long, they got married because they were in love. For me, I thought I was in love too. Who knows? I don't even remember. But most people get married because they feel like they're in love, right? And too many women I see have this fantasy of what marriage and love should look like. The soulmate, he completes me. But the truth is, this thinking can destroy a marriage. A great relationship is not a soulmate who completes you. A great relationship doesn't just come out of the blue. Love is a great feeling, right? But the romantic love is not sustainable over time, all the time. There's beliefs. We have an operating system, a subconscious mind of beliefs that are running our lives, and we aren't even aware of it. So you can notice patterns in yourself. You probably notice patterns in your partner. But what happens? Well, let's see what's next here. We have a honeymoon, right? It feels so good. And then what happens? Life happens. Now, for guys, and this is typical. I worked in corporate for 22 years. I have 1 child. When I had my child, if the expenses of diapers, daycare, whatever, I felt like I had to keep working. So I had a long commute, I had a career, had errands. You have a sick child every now and then. All this stuff starts coming at you, and starts getting in the way of that soulmate love kind of thing. But to be truthful, most women are really like givers, over givers, maybe to the point of exhaustion and depletion at times. And not only do we overgive, but we don't need anything. But the truth is, we all need support at some time. Okay. When we're pulled by all these things, it's almost like we get on autopilot for everyone else but ourselves. And when we do that, we wake up and find ourselves feeling lost and lonely and sad and unfulfilled and unloved. And we look around and wonder how we got here. But here's the truth. We didn't take time to know and grow ourselves. And I'm talking about the things we long for, the things that are really important to our soul, for us. The things that are almost like our purpose. We didn't take time to look inward. We focus out there because we're always ready to be of service to somebody who needs us, right? We've gotten on autopilot for everyone else, and it's a habit that takes breaking. But we're no longer like that whole individual. We've morphed and become dependent on things outside of us for our meaning, our fulfillment, and our happiness. If someone needs me, I'm happy. I got it, But one day the kids grow up and leave home. That happens to a lot of people too. They see that. So the truth about relationships, Every relationship is there to support you, equal support and equal challenge. And I do see my hands, but in some days you get more support and some days you get more challenge. Challenges are meant to grow us into being the best you, the best me I can be. So yeah, you're doing important stuff, but you've got on autopilot. And it's those feelings that come up that are your clue. They're speaking to you. They're trying to get your attention. It's like spiritual pain, your dissatisfaction, the feeling you can't quite name. Now it shows up in your relationship. It showed up for me years before in my work, but I didn't listen. And so now it's showing up in your relationship. And your relationship is your mirror back to you. Okay, the dissatisfaction, the anger, the resentment that you are assigning to your partner could possibly be towards yourself. Only you don't quite see it that way yet. But you're blaming him, which pushes him away. So that took me some time to figure out, but write it down and think about that. Because nobody told me I had to do all the things I did except for me, but when your relationship gets off track, it's there to challenge you. It's there to wake you up to grow you, okay? Grow you into living your purpose, your unique values, your priorities in life. If you've been betrayed by someone, like I'm using my example, the challenge for you might be to see how you're betraying yourself. And I showed you how well I did that and how effective that was to release all that pain. And if someone's cheating on you, be careful of the words you tell yourself, the story you tell yourself. Be careful of the words in there, or be mindful of them, because pick the word you use, because that's the feeling you have. Okay, so if someone's cheating on you, your challenge may be to set boundaries and to raise your standards so that that's not acceptable to you. But that means you still have to let go of the attachment to that person being in your life or not. Okay, so it might seem like painful things happen to us, but at the soul level, they happen for us, to show us where we need to focus our growth and evolution. And we're spiritual beings in a human body, and we are meant to grow and evolve. And so many people get stuck in complacency at one place, and that makes me sad. And I hope that's not you, and you're never too old to grow. So I could tell you stories of people over 70 finding love for the first time. Okay, so you're never too old to grow. And this is like the inner work that's designed to grow as you as a person, to find your own meaning in life. And it's really important to calm your reactive emotions and your judgments so you can see clearly. And doing this inner work can do that. So that's really the real purpose of relationships, if that makes sense. They're there, equal challenge and support. And the challenge is to grow you, and the support is there just for that, for support. Like you do your kids. You want your kids to grow, but you want them to know you're there for them too. All right, secret number 2. Any questions on secret number 1? Let's see. I'll look at the chat box here. Okay, I don't see any right now. So secret number 2, what do you need to know or do first to trust yourself to move forward confidently? And like I told you, I was in my 40s and early 50s, and I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I wanted. And I was still in corporate. And like I said, I had that feeling there was more for me, but I sure didn't know what it was. So that feeling was the beginning for me. And I want to tell you that each one of us here on this, every person on the planet actually, like I said, we're a spiritual being in a human body, but we're given our own unique gifts. If you'll notice, you and your partner probably don't love a whole lot of the same things, and that's awesome that you don't. My husband and I are total opposites. And you know what? That is a beautiful thing. So you've been given multiple gifts when you were born. You have a unique purpose, and it's not just one thing. It's kind of a overarching purpose. You know, you've been given unique desires and unique priorities for your life. You've got a unique personality, and you have the propensity, the possibility for many talents and skills. And your body is perfect for what you need it for in this lifetime. And so think about it like this, not think about the kids that grow up and play teacher, or that grow up and play astronaut, or grow up and play musician, or whatever they grow up and play. I didn't dream when I was a kid, but everybody doesn't want to go to the moon. But some people, that's a priority to do space exploration, for example. Not everybody wants to climb Mount Everest, but for some people, that's their path. Not every person wants to be a florist. Maybe their arching purpose in life is to make beauty all around, you know, or a plastic surgeon could have the same purpose. So your purpose can show up in many different ways, but if you're not even living close to your purpose, you're going to have spiritual pain. So what do you have to know or do first? You have to know what those unique highest priorities are for you. And you have to know who you are and what you want. Who am I and what's most important to me? And how many years have we gone without even thinking about that? I'm a mom, I've got to do this. So we're not talking the roles here. Like I said, I'm a mom. It's important. And I want to say this though. There are people on the planet, women, men, I don't know, who are, their highest priority is being a mom. Like, what's her name? Rose Kennedy. She had a purpose in life to raise a family of leaders. She was the mom, the matriarch of a family. That was her purpose. So that can be your purpose. But if you're here tonight, I suspect it's not. I don't know. You're the only one who can answer that. Okay, so this is talking about who you are to your core and what you really want. Not about what your partner wants for you. Not about what you think you can have. Not what you think you can do or can't do. It's what do you want? What's in you calling you? You know, when you know what these things are, when you allow them to come up, you can make decisions far more easy than you can when you don't know. And you will make decisions for yourself rather than deferring to, well, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So just having this awareness, this knowing, is clarity, and clarity is powerful. Clarity is powerful. It helps you to say yes and no to things in your life. It helps you to prioritize your time and your day. And it's amazing the confidence that comes in women when they get this clarity. Make sense? All right, that was secret number 2. Now, secret number 3 is, what are the ordinary things that other people do too? What are you doing now to keep your relationship out of sorts? And we talked a little bit about how women are such givers. And a lot of us are taught that. But over-giving is a pattern. It's a habit that depletes us. And like I said, it keeps our focus out there on everybody else and not on us and what we want. But we talked about that. But when you're not living your life through your highest priorities, we just talked about that. The things most important to you, your life's going to get out of balance. And these are the feelings that come up. They're anger, blame, criticism, despair, resentment, depression, disconnection, feeling of disconnection, sadness, depression, anxiety. These are all signs that you're off track from the things that are most important to you, your highest priorities in life. So when you know what they are, when you know who you are, and what they are and what you want, you'll go for it and you will find the happiness and the meaning and the fulfillment within yourself. And when you don't, the choices you make in life, like I said, will be overpowered by what other people think you should do, including that little voice in your head that says, I think I should do this. You know, my parents would have done this. I think I should do this. You know, my husband probably wouldn't like that. So I think I should do this other thing. No, no, no. And if you have a man who truly loves you, this is what he wants for you. He wants you to be happy and fulfilled. And these are the warning signs when you're living outside of your highest priorities. So what happens? These are emotional reactions based on that. And these things push people away. So I had a question earlier, and let's see this. I think it's from someone named, no, Amy. Let me just answer this question while we're on it. She says, how did the communication break down between us? And I don't know anything about your situation, Amy, but I want you to look at this part and see if there was something in you reacting where you were pushing him away. You know, if we have a healthy partner, spiritually, emotionally, mentally healthy partner, and we are reacting like this, they want us to be happy. They want us to be fulfilled. And when we're not, they feel like they're not doing a good job. And so they're going to go and find somewhere else to do a good job. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. My husband always wanted me to be happy, and he did what he could, but it never made me happy. And so he got frustrated with that. And I don't blame him now that I can see it this way. So if this can help you shift some things, I hope it will. And I'm looking at the time. Okay. So when we react emotionally with these feelings, they make us feel bad. They drain our energy. So how you know, other than how you feel, you're off track is anytime you think, I should do this. I should do that. I mean, you know, you have to pick the kids up at school, but sometimes you don't have to be the one. But there's things I should do this, or you're questioning from other people. What should I do about this? You know, inside of you. And as I teach people to find the answers inside of them. So think about it. If you're not doing work that's fulfilling, over time, you're going to resent the time that you spend there and the things they ask you to do. You know, and the same thing, if you're in a relationship and you're taking on things you think you should, sooner or later you're going to resent something in that relationship, even if it's not necessarily true. And I did this for years. I did everything I thought I should. That's why I was a great corporate employee. Think about yourself in corporate. If you're a great employee and you don't love your work, you're probably running yourself ragged doing all the things that you think you should to please everyone else before you. Right? Unstated expectations I would meet because I was good at it from my childhood patterns. My mom duties, coworkers, bosses. I was living so far outside of my highest priorities. And I didn't even know what highest life priorities were at the time. And I didn't know that I could do something different because my beliefs and thoughts were aligned with I should do what I was doing because even what I want doesn't matter. I created the life I had. So I should just live it, you know. Anybody see themselves here? All right, so pleasing others before we please ourselves just takes us further away from the core of who we are. Trying to keep the peace at all costs instead of speaking up without reacting. Not owning our own needs, our desires, not living our unique highest priorities. This leads us to have no boundaries. And all our focus is outer focused. And that's not how we're meant to live. So to change these habits of behavior, we have to know what our unique highest priorities in life are. And the next thing we have to do, though, is calm the emotional reactions here and then shift. Actually, we have to identify and transform our patterns of thinking. We have to know, where did this come from? we don't have to know exactly where it came from, but the story we're telling ourselves will give us a clue to the beliefs we have that are running our life. And once we identify that, then we can get to work and find the beliefs that we'd rather have, and it's possible to shift them. It's not even that hard to do. It just takes dedication, focus, and a little bit of time. So we have to examine our thoughts, our beliefs, and our feelings. And a lot of times when people are new at this, it shows up first in their feelings, because you always know when you feel bad, right? You don't always know what you were thinking before you felt bad, but you know you felt bad. So you can catch it and go, oh, what was I thinking? So we can trace it back that way. So I'm going to give you an example. I told you about me being the strong one and doing everything for everybody else. Well, it was just a coping mechanism adopted by a scared little 5-year-old. And like I said, I believed that my needs didn't matter and I didn't matter. So when I was doing work that I'd lost meaning with, I started believing I should keep doing this. After all, we have a mortgage to pay and I'm good at it. And what's wrong with me now? And it's on and on. You can see how it compounds over time. But I was the one who chose all that. So I thought, well, I should just live it. It's almost like punishing myself. So the patterns you're stuck in are patterns of believing, thinking, and resulting behaviors that you've lived for years. They run your operating system through the subconscious mind, and you're not really aware of it until you start becoming aware of it. Because so many people think, that's just the way I am. And that's not true. I mean, I have family members who tell me that's just the way I am. And I'm like, I can't argue with my family, but that's not true unless you want to stay this way, unless you really want to be miserable. It's not true. So beliefs that many women have that I work with, I'm not lovable. I'm not enough. I have to be perfect. I'm not good enough. There must be something wrong with me. If he doesn't like me or want me, most people aren't even aware they have them. That's the thing. And if you have an underlying belief that you're unlovable, no matter how much love your man shows you, you're not going to ultimately feel loved. And it's not his fault. You have a belief that can be changed, okay? They show up in your relationship to tell you, hey, there's something to look at here, but they're not about your relationship. Make sense? So I'm going to share about a masterclass I have coming up where we identify the underlying belief patterns and we shift them to the more empowering beliefs. Like I said before, when you do the work, we look at how thoughts, feelings, and emotions are all created. And what I know is that we can learn to feel good in any moment, no matter what's going on around us. When we do this work, we can just shift out of a bad mood there. And the longstanding patterns can certainly be changed. And it's necessary if you want to create new results in your life, in your relationship, in your health, in your finances, in your career. If you want to, anything that you want to create on the outside of you starts with what's on the inside. If you want to shift the results you have in your life, you can try changing your behavior. And I suspect you did. We tried a lot of behavior changes, but it won't last long when your underlying beliefs don't support the behavior. So your happiness, let's go back to that, because when you know to your core who you are, I heard we lost sound. Let me just, okay. Can you hear me now, Cal? That's weird. Let me just, can you hear me now? Hit reconnect. Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Thanks, Jen. Good, Cal. All right. So I think we're talking about happiness. Yes. So when you know to your core who you are, when you know what you really want, when you love yourself and you allow yourself to show up as that beautiful woman instead of the one you thought you should be, that's where your happiness is. That is where you will find yourself again, so that you can have the relationship that you really want and deserve. Now, I can't guarantee that you'll have the one that you have, but until you do this, till you master your own happiness, um, yeah, relationships are going to struggle. So, any questions on the 3 secrets now? I can do a quick recap. The reason your relationship's out of sorts is because relationships are there to support and grow us, and so many people hightail it and run when the growing part comes, and when the emotional reaction happens, they just leave because it's hard. It is hard. All right, secret number 2, what do you need to know first to trust yourself to move forward? And you have to know who you are and what you want. You have to know what's most important to you. And then what you're doing now to keep the relationship you want away. It's like we're keeping all our focus out here and not in here to what matters most to us. And people go through life thinking it's just the way I am. It's not true. It's not true. It's the way you seem to be right now, but your truth is more than that. Your truth is more than that, and you can create a different outcome no matter where you are today. Okay, it doesn't matter where you are. You can create a different outcome. What you need to do for changing your life and relationship is you need an open mind and a willingness to change. And I know you have to, I feel like, and I don't know your situation, but I feel like you have to find the ownership of you in this too. I mean, it takes 2. Relationships take 2. And you're just as your partner's a mirror to you, you're a mirror to your partner. And it takes new awareness. We had 5 or 6 great years, then we had a bunch of years where things got jumbled up, and now we've had the last 10 years of really good years. I mean, I can't believe we're laughing, getting old and laughing together, and but you can do what you love most with or without him. I spend time with my girls, my girlfriends. I don't have any girls, I have a boy, but we do things that I want to do because I speak up now, where before I thought I did, but I really didn't. And your life will look totally different, but I know that once you get in touch with who you are and what you want, you can make it happen. So you ready to free yourself from the emotional turmoil you've been living in? You ready to shift your relationship with yourself, which then changes everything? And I know I did this over 50. I was an old dog and I learned new tricks, right? I know it's possible for you, just an ordinary person. And if you want this too, it's time for a new perspective. Just a new perspective. And I'm going to talk to you about this. This is a brand new masterclass I've created. And I'm excited about it because it's a foundational piece for anyone going through this. But feeling good is a choice, right? Anybody can make that feeling at any time, even though at times it doesn't seem like it. But I feel like we're a human being on this planet, and it's almost our responsibility to feel as good as we can, because everything on the planet is energy, and feelings are vibrationally resonating. And when we feel good, it's a higher vibration than when we feel bad. So it contributes more to the planet than when we're angry and resentful and depressed. So joy, happiness, gratitude, love are higher up in the vibrational scale. And I think guilt and shame are the lowest. And we all have bouts of it, but it's the, no sound. Oh man. Joanne, talk to me. Is there sound here or not? Joanne? She can't hear me. Sound? Well, I'm going to keep going. If there's no sound, someone please let me know, and I will back up just a little bit. But it's like, it's the quality of opportunities in your life, the quality of your, okay, good. The qualities you have of your opportunities in life that come to you, they come based on your general state of being, the frequency you're vibrating at. And remember, I said happiness is a state of being. When you're in complete harmony with yourself, that's a higher vibration. We can be happy because, I don't know, because the sun's out. But when we're generally in a state of happiness, it's because we're being who we really are. And think about work. You know, if you've got a promotion, a raise, it's not going to come to a woman who is upset all the time and angry and resentful, you know. And a healthy relationship with a partner isn't going to come to a woman reeling in anger and resentment. Even if she tries to hide it, vibrationally, you can't hide it. You can put a smile on, but it's felt. Your happiness is first. And that's why I created this class, because these are things they should teach in every school. And I don't know, they might be starting to do it now, but we all need to know how to be happy. How to feel better. I'm not saying you go from super sad to amazingly amazing, but if you can even just feel a little better and a little better and a little better, you're creating new patterns that help you get to there. So when you, whatever you have in your life now, you know, whatever it is, good or bad, you've attracted it. And it's been a reflection of how you've been feeling. So you might think you feel bad because something happened, but the real truth of that is the something happened because of how you feel, the beliefs you've had about yourself, and your thoughts and your actions. That makes sense? Okay. So if you want to change your life so you can attract and keep the relationship that you want, so you can get that higher paying job or the opportunities that you're looking for, it's important that you feel good. That's why this class is so important. Oh gosh, you know, if you're thinking you'll be happier when something else happens, this class is for you, because you can make the happiness be in you now. It takes some work. It's not hard. It just takes a decision to do it and then to really dig in and do it. But none of the good things in your life can happen until you begin to see how your outer world is mirroring your inner world, your thoughts and your beliefs, you know. And nothing can give you the freedom and the peace that you want until you understand how to feel the peace within yourself, no matter what's going on outside you. You know, if you don't love yourself, if you don't feel special just because you're you, and we all should, right? Should. No matter how much a man loves you, you'll never be able to feel it. You won't be able to receive the love he's giving you. Or if you're not married right now or in a relationship, you'll attract men who disappoint you and can't love you the way you need to be loved or wanted to be loved. So many women think when their relationship isn't working, that she needs to take massive action to change her situation. But the truth is, it's the small, the subtle internal changes inside of her that make the biggest difference. You know, for me, just seeing how I betrayed myself was a huge eye-opener. That was a subtle, it wasn't subtle when I was in the middle of it, but that was a shift in me. And it started me on a different trajectory. So every little shift you make, you'll be starting to head more of where you want to go. And the fastest way that I know of to make those subtle changes is through the exercises that I've included in this masterclass, Feeling Good as a Choice. And I just want to share a little bit about this class, because in here, what you'll do the work and identify those hidden beliefs that are running your life. You'll learn how to shift those beliefs to more empowering beliefs, to beliefs that you want to have. I didn't want to feel like I was unlovable, and I don't feel that way now. You'll learn the secret behind how the results in your life, your relationship, your health, your finances are created. You'll learn how you can feel better in any moment, no matter what's going on around you, and why that's important to you. And we talked a little bit about that. And in doing this work, you'll create new patterns of thinking, which will create new results in your life. Make sense? All right, so there's two options here, because I thought, some people, if they're really new to this work, they might need a little extra. So Feeling Good is a Choice, the masterclass. It's a 15-page PDF workbook with 6 audio recordings, and I think it's 6 exercises in there. And I recommend people get a spiral bound notebook for this, because you can do this work on and on. The better your beliefs get and the happier you get, the more you'll see that you want to change. And it's kind of, this awareness grows and builds on itself. And then the Mastery Series, I call it that, because it's the same, you get the same masterclass, the workbook and the audio recordings, but you get 2 private 45-minute sessions with me to talk about your specific life, and to really, if you want to get going really good with this work, I recommend that. So you may be thinking I can do this myself, and I thought I was smart, and I thought, anyway, I was not able to do it myself. And sometimes these beliefs are so hidden that it takes other people. Oh yeah, clients. Susan helped me work through and dissolve multiple limiting beliefs and fears that were holding me back. Created a shift in my perceptions, opened my heart, helped me move through emotional blocks. This is to me what it's about, to get to happiness. Allowed me to create new thoughts about my situation, soften my heart, restored a sense of empowerment, able to forgive and move forward. And I'm gonna tell you, every client I've worked with, when we get to the forgiveness piece, it's a major deal. It's amazing how much it opens them up and opens their heart. It's almost like taking a chisel to the wall around their heart. And why remain stuck in feelings that are no longer useful and only hurt? I don't see that. And then just do it. But this work changed my life, and it changed my family's life. And if you want that for you, if you're rehashing conversations over and over in your mind, you're second guessing all the things you said or you did, if you're still blaming him, if you feel embarrassed about what someone else did, or if you care what others think about you, or if you really want to have real change in your life, this is a good place to begin. So there's 2 options. Like I said, the masterclass is $47, and the Mastery Series with 2 private sessions with me are $397. So I wanted to offer that at the end, because I just know making decisions when you're in the emotional charge stage it can lead to things you wish you hadn't done or said. So calm yourself down. But this isn't just about calming yourself down. This is about seeing the patterns that got you where you are. And until you really understand this, it's really hard to change your life. This is pivotal to all the results in your life. So Feeling Good is a Choice. I just if all this did was give you the clarity you needed and calm the emotional turmoil so you can move forward with more peace and confidence, would that be important to you? And I'm going to tell you, if you don't want to put in the time and actually do some of the work, you'll get something by reading it and listening, but you will get far more with it if you do the work. And I think you'll get a lot further if you take the Mastery Series. So I just want to offer that to you guys. And I'm going to put up, here, put that, there's an offer here. I'm going to leave it up for a few minutes. And I'm going to go off of here. Let's see, how do I turn here we go. Stop the slide. I'm back. Oh, I have this little like bar stool thing I'm sitting on that rocks, and I almost missed it. Any questions here? Any questions on anything? It can be questions about the material. It could be private questions if you want. And then the question that Amy had: how did the communication break down between us? I want you to check in really, really good with how you've been feeling. Not just recently, I don't know what's going on, but just check on the past, because the anger, resentment, even if you're pretending everything's okay, can still push people away and get the communication off. Men are different animals than women, and they react and respond differently as a rule. Everyone's different. So first of all, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to be here tonight. We went an hour and 15 minutes. I apologize for going over. But thank you for being here, because it is an investment in your time and energy. And I so appreciate you being here. And if you do have any questions, go ahead and join my Facebook group, Reignite Your Life. If you have any questions about what I talked about tonight, you can ask in there. If you choose to do the work and purchase the Mastery Series or Feeling Good as a Choice, you have the Facebook group, Reignite Your Life, and you can ask questions in there as well. I'm in there every single day. So again, I just want to say thank you for being here. I wish every one of you the best wishes for whatever it is you want to create in your life. And if I can help in any way, you have my email address and you have the Facebook group. So I don't see any questions. Okay, and I'm gonna leave up the offer for just, I didn't put the offer up. There's the offer, so there you go. If you want to get it in, you click on that and it gives you the option for either one of the Mastery Series or the Feeling Good as a Choice workbook and audios. The replay will also be sent out, I think a little bit later tonight. And if you had any more questions, you could listen to it and see if that answered your questions. And actually, I'm going to tell you the link will be sent out too, but I'm going to leave it up for just a minute and give you an opportunity. So in case you don't want to listen to the next one, listen to the replay. You don't have to. Okay, I'm going to give it out one more minute. This work we do is like lifelong work, because I still even find myself, I'll fall back into patterns. I have my husband helping me now. And at Christmas time, I didn't want to climb up the top of the ladder. And so I said, would you mind putting the ornaments on the top of the tree? And he came up and hugged me and he said, just ask me to do it. And I said, I thought I did. He said, no, you said, would you mind? I said, what do you want me to say? And he said, would you please put the ornaments on top of the tree? So men like to have direct requests. And I grew up in a passive household where my mom could never ask for what she wanted. So if that helps anybody in any way, he said, just ask me nicely. And I said, okay, thank you for that. 10 years ago, we'd be arguing over that. So anyway, let me look at the chat box. Is somebody? Oh, Joanne, you're so very welcome. And thank you for joining. And like I said, join the Facebook group if you're not in there already. And I make posts every day and offers and different things. So let me know how I can help. All right, I'm going to sign off here now. And I'll see you in the Facebook group or in an email somewhere.